everyone, Ryan Young, KAATARO Jiu-Jitsu. Hope you're doing well. So let's do a quick one today. Well, quick as I can make it. You know me, once I get started, can't stop me. Our most watched video, Jiu-Jitsu BJJ Belt System Explained. By the way, I can't stand to watch that video. It was one of our earliest videos, and anyway, Rusty has a surprise for you guys. It's in a little while though. Anyway, David Training posts a question. Can you give a short explanation on why most schools don't have a set curriculum? That's an easy one. I hate to say it this way, but the reason why a school does not have a set curriculum is because they're lazy. It's because they may have a curriculum, but the question is, do they teach it? And the other question would be, do they stick to teaching it? Having a curriculum is one thing, right? You know what you're gonna learn. They may even write it down. You know, a lot of people, they take their business of running a school seriously and they have their curriculum written down. But when they come into class, they don't stick to the curriculum. They'll teach whatever they feel like teaching that day. Oh yeah, when I was training with another black belt, he caught me in an armbar. So today, I'll teach how to either do the armbar I got caught in or how to get out of the armbar I got caught in, right? So it's whimsical like that. Instead of teaching, you know, the next thing in the curriculum is to do choke escapes, right? Let me teach that, no. Or gauging the class, grouping them up into smaller groups and then teaching them whatever part of the curriculum that applies to them, right? Teaching that way, it takes a lot of discipline on the instructor's part. Most instructors are not disciplined in that way. They may be even more disciplined with their training than they are with their instructor's training. Not with their instructor's training, with their students' training. I'll give you an example. I went and visited a school once. This school was owned by a young guy in his 20s, MMA fighter. And he was teaching a class. And he was teaching probably a Muay Thai class at that moment when I came in. And what he would do is he would show his students, probably had like 20 students on the mat. He would show the students the particular concept that he would do, and then he would leave them off to go and start training, and then he'd turn around and there's some bags, and he'd start kicking and punching the bags on his own. This is a class that's a normal class that he set up to teach it. But he's off training himself, and while he's training, his back is turned to his students. So he couldn't see when his students are making mistakes. But I guess given limited time, he's thinking, okay, he might work a full-time job, I don't know. So he has to try to work his training time in there somewhere, and I've got people paying to be in class and they're gonna be on the mat, so I might as well get my training time in as well. With us, you know, I get my training in after class. So when class is over with, then what I'll do is I'll just, you know, continue on. So let's say class finishes at 9 p.m. Oftentimes I'm there till 10 p.m. and I'm talking with students, going over some stuff, and I'm training, you know, and other students who stay late, they're training as well. But my training doesn't take place during class. My training takes place after class or at an alternate time. You know, I might have a private and maybe the last 15 or 20 minutes, you know, of a private, or even after the private's over. Because a lot of times my privates will run long. And when they do that, then I'll train at that time, right? I'm training on my time, not on other people's time, right? And for me, when I'm in a class, I'm teaching a class, it's their time, not my time, right? But for doing a curriculum, you know, in answer to your question, why instructors don't do it, is because there's so many other things to do that are more fun or that are easier. It's always the harder things that we don't want to do. We always choose to do the easy things. The difference between people who are successful and people who are not successful is that the successful people do the harder things first, and they get the harder things done and checked off the list before they go to the easy things. Whereas other people who are less successful will spend all their time doing the easy things and never ever get to the difficult things. It doesn't matter if it's jiu-jitsu or if it's football or if it's soccer. That's where you can tell who the disciplined coaches are by how well based in the fundamentals their athletes are. If you watch one athlete versus another athlete and you see that they've been training for the same amount of time, but yet one has a really good grasp on the fundamentals and one doesn't, something went wrong there. It could be that the instructor taught them both the same way, but one of the athletes in his mind is much more disciplined. He will focus on one concept today, and maybe even one concept for a month. Whereas the other athlete was never made to focus by his instructor, so he never did focus. An example, doing left-handed and right-handed. Whenever I'm running a class, I always tell my students, all right, so now I want you to do this. I want you to do it 5 times left and 5 times right. If I don't tell them to do that, they're gonna do it 10 times right, because that's just the nature of it. You know, it's easier for most people to do everything right-handed. You know, things just kind of fall into a groove when you do it right-handed. Whereas when you do it left-handed, it's awkward. You do it once awkward, oh, that doesn't feel right. Here, let me go and do it right-handed again. Don't tell me that you don't do that, because everybody does it. It's human nature. Very rarely will you have people that do things equally left and equally right. Right? I'll train with Dave. Dave is ambidextrous in Jiu-Jitsu, but he did that based on his own initiative. So Dave did that and trained both hands based on his own initiative. Believe me, I've tested it out, right? Because I can train ambidextrously. So I would try to go left, it doesn't work. I go to right, it doesn't work. So he's equally able to defend. But my journey into doing things ambidextrously, as I mentioned in other videos, it had to do with my having torn my ACL and my meniscus on my right leg. I couldn't play right-handed because I couldn't base on my right leg. I had to go left. So I had to pass guard to your left side, for instance. My right, but your left, so that's a left-handed game. I had to do armbar from the left, I had to set up chokes from the left, knee in the belly from the left. So that's what forced me to do it. And then I realized how awkward my game was and how uncomfortable it was, but I had no choice. It was either discomfort or pain. Discomfort's a little better than pain, right? So I just went the uncomfortable route. And it turns out I realized this is something I need to do, so I continue to do it. And to this day now I do it. And when I teach, I make sure my students do it that way. I'll give you an example. If I have a choice of showing them 2 arm bars, they say, you know, I teach them an arm bar. And I teach them how to do the basic straight arm bar from inside the guard, right? So they do the right hand first, they lock up the right arm. And after they get that, they get good at that, they tell me, okay, Ryan, teach me another arm bar. All right, so what do? Here, arm bar my left arm now. And they go, that's the same arm bar. I go, no, it's not. It's my left arm now. And sure enough, when they try it, they're horrible at it, right? So I would rather my students learn how to do the right arm and the left arm over 2 on the right arm alone. Because what if my defense and defending my right arm is better than anybody's ability to lock up my right arm? But I have no ability to defend my left. For somebody who is mediocre at doing arm bars, both sides, right? They're not particularly good, they're mediocre. So they try for my right arm and I defend it. And they go to my left, they'll take it because I have 0 defense on the left side because I've only worked on defending right side. That alone will make you a whole lot better. As an instructor, I make sure that my students do that. But it takes a lot of thinking and discipline on my part, and I have to be consistent. I can't do it for the Monday class and not do the same thing and assist the same thing for the Tuesday class. At the same time, and there are days that I want to do core concepts only, or weeks maybe that I only want to do a core concept. I need to make sure I just do that core concept off of the curriculum because it's next, right? Or somebody may come in, they want to learn how to do half guard, but they're still a white belt. We introduced a half guard concept to our blue belts, not our white belts. This white belt starts locking legs up half guard. Don't do that. Why not? Because you're not at that point in the curriculum yet. Oh, but I want to learn it. No, right? It takes a disciplined instructor to tell a student no, but you just have to have a good reason. So I tell them, you know what? You're not responsible for it. Everybody's goal is to move up, to get their belt. If your goal is to get to the point where you go through the white belt curriculum to get the blue belt, half guard won't do it for you. You know, there's another thing I need you to do. I need you to get good at it first. But as an instructor, it's very hard to tell my student no. I want to teach my students those things, but I need to put them on the linear belt. You learn this today, you learn this today, you learn this today. I will not teach you that until you get to that. Long answer to a short question, the reason why schools don't do it. I hope they have a curriculum. If they don't have a curriculum, then that explains it. On the other hand, if they do have a curriculum, then it comes down to laziness or discipline on the instructor's part. A good instructor will stick to the discipline. And if they can stick to the discipline, their students will progress much, much, much faster. And you as an individual will. Now, what do you do if you're in a school or in a situation where you have no curriculum and you have no discipline on the instructor's part? No curriculum, easy. Sign up for something like KAATARO Jiu-Jitsu's Patreon. we have our curriculum on there. Now, it's not any particular order, but it's all on there. And that's just because of the way they let us put the files on. It's kind of like putting files on Facebook. You know, you can't put it in any particular order, right? So that's what kind of makes it hard. And then that's one option, you know, but you can use anybody else's, okay? Don't just go on YouTube and just start looking for stuff because it's too random, right? You want to get the curriculum of one instructor. If it's not Kama Jiu-Jitsu, go find something that Henzo does, or go find something Gracie Academy does, whatever. But just get on a curriculum and use that curriculum only. Number two is you need to be disciplined in doing it. If the next thing in the curriculum is for you to work on headlock escapes, you need to work on headlock escapes for yourself because your instructor is not doing that for you. You're really just there so you have warm bodies to practice on. And if you take the approach in that way, you will get good despite the system in your school. Anyway, I hope that helps. Be sure to like and share. And if you want to help the channel out, go ahead and hit our links, our Teespring links, our KAATARO links, our Amazon links, or our Patreon links. If there's any questions or comments, go ahead and comment below, and I'll try to get to them if I can. Take care. Happy training. Bye-bye now.